Hey guys, and welcome back to the Vally of Shadows Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Matt. Today, we got another video for you. It's gonna be basically on what we were going over last time with Kat and Zach, that sleep paralysis thing that a lot of people seem to have. I've never experienced it myself. I do have crazy dreams, though. I'm gonna tell you that. But maybe I'll get into my dreams in another video. We'll have a more dream-like video where it's just based around that. But this is basically how she says it. It's a dream within a dream within a dream. From what I read, it's more like a nightmare within a nightmare within a nightmare. Okay, so just before we get into this story, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been liking and subscribing to the videos. We have quite a few views, and I really appreciate everyone who's come on onto the channel and giving us the time of day listening to our stories and whatnot. I just want to let everyone know, if they could please just keep sharing the channel. Go ahead and please give us a like, a thumbs up. Please subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the better. You know how that all works with the whole YouTube algorithm and everything. I'd like to hit at least 100 subscribers, at least maybe the next few months or so. So please go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Tell us how we're doing. Maybe you have ideas on how we can improve. I am trying to improve on everything here. But like I said, everything takes time. And the more views and likes and everything I get, and the faster I get monetized, or however it works, I guess the more time I'll be able to be on there and just help, share everybody's stories out there. With all that being said, I guess let's just get into this story. Okay, so in this dream of V's, her name is V. She's a friend of mine I've come to know, and she herself has experienced a lot of craziness, and I've heard a few stories, but this one I feel like really takes the cake. Like I said, this is like a nightmare within a nightmare within a nightmare. So let's see here. Okay, she says in her dream within a dream within a dream, it was a normal day at work, as if she had just clocked in and was getting the day started. And then she remembered this lady Sylvia, this lady that works with us. She walked up to her, and she was speaking to her like she usually does, just chatting. Like, hey V, how are things going? How are you? And she responded, and like mid-response, she says, the lights suddenly cut off, and then down the hall, one light turned on after the other. But her surroundings were like pitch black though. The lights were like a dim red, and they were flickering. And she looked towards the end of the hallway, and she said she saw like a silhouette of a man, a tall man, like a tall figure, like in all black. She believed he was wearing a tux or something, and he starts moving towards her like really slow. And then she hears like her steps getting closer and closer, and she was frozen. Like she couldn't move at all, and she wanted to move, and she was telling herself like, move, please move. And then like she starts hearing whispers telling her to run, like run away, like don't let him touch you. And she was like, F man, freaking move. And she was like hearing her voice like telling her to run, her voice inside her head, I'm assuming, like run, just run, move please. And that's like when she jumped, and she finally was managed like to move her body towards an exit. And so she managed to go out the doors, and all of a sudden she seemed to be in a forest with a group of people, like unfamiliar faces. And she was like thinking to herself, I have like really bad feeling about this. So they were walking in the woods, and they were approaching an abandoned building, and they opened the front door and they entered the building. And these people started like to take out all their equipment and set up and prepare for some sort of ritual or some kind of summoning of some spirit that haunts the building. So they were all talking to this thing, trying to get a reaction out of the ghost or the spirit, the entity, whatever it be, the demon more likely. But then there was nothing. Then they make another attempt, and still like silence. And then someone finally breaks character and says, See, I told you, it was all a scam. This doesn't exist. And before she could even finish her sentence, like the ghost, the entity started screeching like a banshee and drags this person from their hair and throws them into a room, slamming the door shut. Front door slammed shut. Everyone now panicking is getting tossed around like rag dolls. And she hears like bones breaking and the walls banging. And before she knew it, like she was next. But she says she was thrown out of the window, like a window. And so now she's like flying in the air, and it feels like she's like in excruciating pain, like coursing throughout like her whole body. And she was making attempts to gasp for air, but like the spirit, it appears like in front of her, like in her face, and it's like yelling and screaming, and she's just like, oh, fudge, fudge, fudge. And boom, she woke up. And it was like, was this all a dream, or what's going on here? Like, whoa, that was not cool. And now she's like panting in her room, like just laying down in her bed, and she's like looking around, and something seems off. Like her room feels unfamiliar, so she like tried to get up, and she can't. So then she starts like going into a sigh, and she's like, damn it, I know I'm experiencing like sleep paralysis. At this point, I guess she knows it's happening. So she looks around her room, and like a gray mist, like a fog, like sets in. And then like she hears a slam on the window. So she turned her eyes over. Again, she's in sleep paralysis, so she can't really move. But I guess you can move your eyes when this is happening. And she sees a woman, a thin, bony looking woman, like long, frizzly, curly hair. She's holding a baby. And she hears the baby start to cry. And it was crying like a baby was like in a lot of pain. And she's hurting. And the baby was like her first thought, like, so I wanted, like, she wanted to get up and help the baby, and she feels like pressure on her legs now. So she looks down, and then there's a creature that's on all fours, and is like bloody and red and just very ugly sight to see. Like she said, it was like a disgusting creature, and it starts crawling like up on her body, and she's just like, fudge, 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 get up, get up. And she's like, please. Again, she's like pleading to her body to wake up, but like her body continues to refuse to wake up, to move, you know, the way your body reacts during this sleep paralysis. And then the baby gets louder, she says, and then she's like, someone help the baby. And she's trying to help, shout help, but nothing comes out. She's like, she can't say anything. She couldn't move her mouth, her words were muted. And then boom, there was like a big slam, and the baby goes mute, and the monster disappears. And then she looks to the window, and the woman is gone, but a new woman appears. And the same woman from the forest, white, pale face, black, ungroomed hair, and a white dress. She closes her eyes, she says, and she turned away. And when she opened, she sees like appearing in front of her own face, like the thing is smiling and yelling. And she's like, I want to wake up, when am I gonna wake up? And she's like panicking and gasping for air, and just thinking like to herself, am I finally awake? Please tell me I'm awake. Like, I can only imagine what she's going through at this moment. And she makes an effort to move, and it was a relief like to her to find that her body was moving finally as she wanted to. So she gets up, and the first thing she does, she reaches out for her phone to make an effort to text her boyfriend. But then she realizes she can't like interact with the screen, and she's like, this is weird, like it's not responding to touch or nothing, it's just remaining black. So she gets up, and then she gets out of her room, and she starts making her way towards the living room. And she notices it's dark outside, and it's the same gray, misty, foggy scenery like all over again. And she called for her kids, and like they aren't home, and the time is like 2:57 p.m. So I'm assuming kids, they're at school or something. But it's dark out, so she can't like comprehend what's going on here. She thinks she's awake, you know what I mean? Like this whole thing with a dream within a dream within a dream. But we all know this is like a nightmare within a nightmare within a nightmare. And like she says, she's trying to like interact with her phone, and it's not normal. And then she says she's like walking towards the dining room, and she hears her brother, her little brother specifically, down the hall in his bedroom playing video games. So she makes her way towards his room to make an effort to open the door, but she can't. Like, her hands just goes right through the knob. His door is cracked open though, and she says she can see him sitting on his chair at his desk playing a game called Apex. And she's just like, hello, brother. And he doesn't respond. And like, she's like wondering, so why can't he hear me? Like, now I'm like, she's like panicking. And like, what is this place? Did I die? What's going on here? And is she stuck in another dimension? All this stuff starts running through her head. So she decided to just head back to her room. And at the end of the hall, she says she gets to her room, and then there's a mirror. And she says the only thing of color on this mirror is like the gold frame around it. And then she looked into it, and she can see a woman in a white dress standing like behind her. So it like, she ran into her room like a small child and hid under her blanket, assuming, like, you know, you run into your room, put a blanket over your head, and you assume it's going to protect you from everything, all dangers, all the monsters, all the cucuys in the world can't touch you now. And she's just trying to tell herself, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. I need to go to sleep. I need to, like, this needs to stop. And then she feels a hand touching her over her blanket. And that's when she wakes up again. And then she's like, woke up, and she's gasping, looking around the room. And it's familiar at first. She sees like a light. She rushes looking for her phone again and see the time, and it was like 2:59. Her kids are still in school, and she tries to desperately call her boyfriend to hear like a familiar voice, something like help her come back to reality. And thankfully she says she can interact with her phone, and the call goes through, and he answers, and all is well with the world again, you know, like, oh man, like, this is finally over. And it was like just very, very, very spooky dream. But I mean, it's more like a freaking nightmare. And she says it's like not the first time she dreams like this, though. It's like a reoccurring scary things that just tend to happen to her. And like, it just happens from time to time. She just had like another dream the other day. She said it was just so messed up, like it made her cry. And it was just really twisted. And I haven't gotten that story yet, but hopefully I get to it soon. She like sends it to me, and then I can go ahead and tell you guys what happened there. But that's pretty much the story with V and her nightmare within a nightmare within a nightmare. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about this stuff before. They wake up, and then it's still something crazy going on, and then they wake up again, and they wake up again. Like I said, I myself have had a dream similar to this where I knew I was asleep. I knew I was dreaming, and in my dream, it was like I was with a particular person, and I didn't want to wake up from that dream because I knew once I woke up, I wasn't going to be there anymore. We weren't going to be together no more. And I remember in my dream, I was just screaming myself like, no, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up, because I know once I wake up, all this is going to go away. You're going to go away. And I was just like bawling, and I woke up from that dream. I felt pretty terrible after that. Like, oh man, that was a pretty depressing dream, I feel. And I'm just glad I never had anything like that again. Honestly, for me, I've never really had anything too crazy, but I don't know if you guys been paying attention, but in the past videos, I have been saying that I do believe in Christ. I'm a believer in Christ. I owe everything to God. Let's just say my life before God was not fun, and I really don't wish to go back to a life like that anymore. Other than that, I did have a dream within a dream about the world ending, and I had this dream back to back. And I mean, I can go into the story more in another time. If you guys can get these likes up and the subscriptions up, you know, all the way up to 100, maybe I'll tell you these stories about the world ending and everything that happened in between. But I mean, everything happens for a reason. There's reasons why we dream. Dreams, I feel, are more than what they are. I know a lot of people feel this way. I know a lot of podcasters I've heard myself on my own time. They all talk about the same thing. They have these dreams, and the thing is, they all have dreams that are similar to mine. I'll tell you a little something that in my dreams also I've been having previously, not too long ago, maybe even like a month ago. I'm always battling demons in these dreams, and I'm not afraid, but it's pretty crazy what's happening. But I know I'm there to fight them and defend people from them, and just pretty much get these demons off of people. So that tends to what happens in these dreams. I'm there fighting for people casting these demons out in a way. I can get into more depth later on. Just do me that favor and get these likes up, the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, get those subscriptions up, you know what I mean, help a brother out. And I would be more than happy to go in depth about more of this stuff. Leave the comments below if you're interested in stuff like this. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of things going on in this world that we don't understand. And the world itself, it's becoming more and more spiritual. The West itself is becoming more and more spiritual. Everyone is starting to, I guess, wake up. They're starting to see what's really happening, what's going on around them. Especially people who are having these type of experiences and these dreams. Everything stems from something, and I don't know what to say. It's just everyone has their own path, and for some reason some worse than others, but for me there was hope in Christ, and so I went that way, and I don't regret it. I know not everyone subscribes to Christ and his ways, but I'm telling you, it's something that really changed my life for the better. And I'm not saying my life is perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's a never-ending race that I have to keep running. Everyone who's a true believer in Christ. There's a lot of fakes out there, and I feel sorry for a lot of you people who ran into these fake people and they've hurt you in some way or shape or form. They kind of gave you a bad taste of God or Jesus in your mouth, and like I said, I'm sorry for that. But that's not what Jesus is about, and I've grown and learned to know about this through my own life experiences, and I just want to share that with people for the most part. If you're not into this kind of stuff, sorry, that's just the truth. That's what I've experienced in my life, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have too. I've seen a lot of people coming to Christ lately, not just Westerners, but Muslims and people in China, people in Afghanistan, everywhere, all over the world. People are starting to wake up, and they're starting to realize this world is not what it seems. But that's all that I have for today for story wise. Like I said, let me get some more stories in. I'll have about part 2 to this, more stories with V. Hopefully she wants to share some more. I will have Kat and maybe Zach back on, because Kat herself is full of stories. She's had these experiences in her life since she was, I believe what she said, 6 years old. She's experienced so much in her life, and I know it's not an easy life. Not that I know how these experiences are from her perspective, but what she's told me though, on and off, the podcast, she's seen a lot, she's been through a lot, and it's never ending. And I will definitely try to get all these stories out to you guys. Try to get more people's stories, more stories that kind of like correlate to the same thing, same ideas. Just trying to figure out what this is about. And thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Valley of Shadows Paranormal Podcast. Again, I am your host, Matt. I thank you guys for tuning in, and please get those likes up, hit the subscribe button. Let's try to get it to 100. I'd love to do this more often, but the more you guys help me out, I can do that. Appreciate everyone who's watched the videos. Like I said, appreciate all the likes, the subscribes that I have already. I believe it's about 14. We just started this channel not too long ago. Thank you guys, and I'll see you later.